Today is day 31, and we're reading from Exodus 4 through 6. Now we begin to get a picture of our reflection in the man Moses, and that is the common tendency for us to underestimate what God can accomplish in common and ordinary individuals. We see Moses so often pictured as a look at the Bible broadly as this untouchable and as if that's the way he's always been, this remarkable man who was chasing after God. But we find out here that his beginning is very humble, and he certainly argues with God. God continues his call and his mission for Moses. Of course, he himself gives God 5 excuses, as if he is informing God of why he doesn't qualify for the call that God has in his life. This is an insult of God's character as he begins to question an all-knowing God. God refers back to his covenant promise again and again. I love the fact that God continues to say, I'm the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he reaffirms numerous times of his unwavering commitment to that covenant. He gives Moses power signs. He gives him a staff and says, throw it down, and turns into a serpent. And then he puts his hand in his cloak, and he ends up it's being leprous. And then he takes water and dumps it on the ground. These are signs that God's giving him as a confirmation of this divine call in his life. Then Moses says, finally, I can't talk. I'm just not capable. I'm not a good communicator. Talk about excuses. If you go to Acts chapter 7 and the 22nd verse, it would be worth your review of that verse, because as the Bible talks about Moses being this gifted orator, this marvelous communicator. So Moses was actually exaggerating, underestimating actually the enablements that God had given him. God says, I'll teach you and I will train you. What an offer that God Almighty would become his mentor and his instructor. But Moses says, hey, listen, send somebody else, and not me. And, Aaron over there, God points to. But this doesn't. This questioning God, and God sends him on his way and reaffirms the fact that, no, Moses, you're the man and you're stuck, and this is the call I have in your life. God tells Moses to tell Pharaoh that Israel is my firstborn son. Now, this is significant. I had not really noted this before. And his God's proposition to Pharaoh is this: let Israel go, or I'll strike your firstborn. So there was a warning at the very beginning that what God was intending to do if indeed Pharaoh would rebel against the call or commission of God. Moses goes to the people. He shows them the signs. The people enthusiastically believe. I mean, they've been waiting 400 years, and so the idea of a deliverer that had been promised, they're excited to get out of this terrible place, until, though, there's increased opposition, and Pharaoh burdens the people more. And as a result, Pharaoh asks Moses this question: who is the Lord that I should obey his voice? I do not know the Lord, nor will I let his people go. So you see this hardening of Pharaoh's heart, and the fact that he does not know, nor does he seem interested in knowing, about the one true God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Exodus 6, God reaffirms his covenant promise. He says, I have established my covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He says, I remember my covenant. I will not forget it. And then he says, I am the Lord. That's the first time that he uses that phrase. He didn't use that even with Abraham, Isaac, or Jacob. I am the Lord. I'm Jehovah. And Moses at this point doesn't seem like he really knows or believes maybe in this God. By the way he conducts himself and behaves, he will be introduced to this God. It will impact his life. It will change him. And later we're going to see the transformation of a common and ordinary shepherd man in becoming one of the truly great men in the Bible who experiences and witnesses the mighty Shekinah of God. But all of that will change with time, and we're going to see it. All of this is a hope for you and I, that just as Moses had small beginnings, God can take you and I and all of our excuses and all of our senses of inadequacy, and he can turn us into men and women that can be a viable force in networking together with him for divine purposes in kingdom work.